Okay, today's lesson is going to be on percent of change, and that includes percent of increase, percent of decrease, and percent error. Alright, the vocabulary. The percent of change is the amount stated as a percent that a number increases or decreases. So the percent of increases is when the original amount increases, the percent of change is called the percent of increase. When the original amount decreases, the percent of change is called a percent of decrease. The percent error is the percent that an estimated quantity differs from the actual. Alright, so to find the percent of change, you're going to take the amount of change, and you subtract to do that, and divide by the original amount. When you do that, you'll get a decimal, and you need to convert it to a percent. Alright, identify in the next examples if the percent of change is an increase or a decrease, then find the percent of change, round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Remember that if it is increasing, it is going up, and if it is decreasing, it is going down. Alright, so example number 1. Something is going from 12 inches to 48 inches. So, we're going to take the amount of change and divide by the original amount. So to find the amount of change, we have to subtract. Okay? So that's going to be 48 minus 12. And this is an increase. So 48 minus 12. And we're going to take that amount of change and we're going to divide it by the original amount of 12. The original amount is going to be whatever was first. Okay? So 48 minus 12 is 36. And you divide that by 12. And when you do that, you get 3. So, remember that this is technically a decimal, so we're going to have to change it to a percent. And when we do that, we get 300%. So, from 12 inches to 48 inches is a 300% increase. Okay, example number 2. You're going from 71 miles to 42.5 miles. And you see we're going down, so that is a decrease. Alright, so now we're going to plug into our formula, or whatever you want to call it. We got to find the amount of change. To do that, we have to subtract. And you're always going to subtract your bigger number minus smaller. You're trying to figure out how much did it change, even if it went down. So it changed 71 minus 42.5. That's how we find that out. And divide by the original amount, which here we started with 71. Okay, 71 minus 42.5 gives you 28.5. Divide by that 71. When you do that, you get 0.4014, and that is rounded. Now we have to take that decimal and change it to a percent. This is a percent of change. And when we do that, we get 40.14%. Okay, example number 2, we're going from 1/4 to 1/2. And this is an increase, you're going up. So the amount of change, to find out what that is, you have to subtract bigger minus smaller, which is 1/2 minus 1/4. Divide by that original amount of 1/4. Okay, let's clean that up a little bit and subtract. When you subtract 1/2 minus 1/4, you get 1/4. And when you divide by 1/4, you get 1. Now we have to change that to a percent. When we do, move that decimal 2 places to the right, and you will get 100%. So, 1/4 increased to 1/2 by 100%. Okay, example number 4. What happens if we want to find the new amounts? And this is all we're given. 10 meters is increased by 25%. Okay? We're not going to use the formula here. You have to think about what we're looking for. How much, if it increased by 25%, it was at 10 meters. Okay, well, what is it now? Alright, to find that, we have to find what is 25% of 10. If it increases by 25%, we got to find out what that 25% is. So to find a percent of a number, you multiply. Now, it'll be 10 times. We have to change that percent into a decimal, and that'll give you 2.5. So 25% of 10 is 2.5. So if it's going to increase by 10 by 25%, that means that 10 is going to go up by 2.5. So you're going to have to increase 10 by 2.5, and when you do that, you get 12.5 meters. So that is your new amount. So you have to find the percent of that number and then increase it or decrease it. Okay, example number 5. The table shows population data for a community. We're going to find the percent of change from 2005 to 2012. Okay, so we're just trying to find the percent of change. So to do that, we have to find the amount of change divided by the original amount. So we're going to have to subtract 140,000 minus 119,000 to find the amount of change. And then we're going to divide by the original amount, which we started in 2005, so that is 119,000. Okay, clean that up. When you subtract, you get 21,000, so that's the amount of change. Divide by the original amount, and when you do that, you get 0.17647. That is rounded. Once again, we're trying to find the percent of change, so when we change it to a percent, we round to 17.65%. Okay, we're going to use that percent of change to predict the population in 2019. This is going to be like that problem we just did. We got to find the new amount. Okay, so we're going to take the 140,000 and we're going to increase it by 17.65. If this trend continues and it's a 17.65% change over a 7-year period, what is it going to be? So we're going to have to find 17.65% of 140,000. And we're going to do the same thing. To do that, we have to multiply, and when we multiply, we have to change that percent into a decimal. When you do that, you get 24,710. So we know that the population is going to increase now by 24,710. So we're going to have to add that together. So if the trend continues, the population in 2019 will be 164,710. Okay, what if we're trying to find the percent of error? It's very similar. You're going to find the amount of error, how much was this person off or how much was anything off, and you do that by subtracting, and then it's going to be over the actual amount. Okay, then you're going to convert your decimal to a percent. Alright, so you estimate that the grade you got on a math test is an 81. The actual grade is an 87, so you were off. So let's find the percent error that you had. Okay, so to find the amount of error, you have to subtract. Okay, so we're going to take 87 minus 81. So you were off by 6. And then we're going to divide by the actual amount. You actually got an 87. So, clean that up. I said you were off by 6. Divide that by the actual amount. When you divide, you get 0.06896. Change that into a percent, and you get 6.90%. So your percent error was 6.90%. Okay, try these on your own. See what you can do.